When Loulie al-Nazari was told by the one-eyed merchant to meet on a small and humble dhow, she expected, quite reasonably, a small and humble dhow. But the dhow was not small, and it was not humble. It was, in fact, quite the opposite. The Aisham was a behemoth of a ship, with full sails, a spacious deck, an impressive assortment of rooms, and a lofty crow's nest. It was, by any measure, a very nice ship. Had she been here as a passenger, she would have enjoyed exploring it. But Loulie was not here as a passenger. She was here as the midnight merchant, an esteemed magic seller, and she had come to meet with a client who was keeping her waiting long past their scheduled meeting time. "I will call for you the first hour of moonrise," his message had said. Only the hour had come and gone, and Loulie was still waiting for him on deck, dressed in the star-patterned merchant's robe that made her stick out like a sore thumb. She turned her back on the gawking, well-dressed passengers and focused on the horizon. There were no familiar constellations in the sky, and the night was dark and gloomy, which hardly helped her mood. For what was probably the dozenth time that hour, she sighed. "I wish you were in your lizard shape," she said to the man standing beside her. He angled his head to look at her. Though his stony expression barely shifted, Loulie perceived a very slight height difference between his brows. He was most certainly raising one at her. "And what good would that do us in this situation?" "You could sneak below decks and find our client's room. You're useless in your man shape." The umber-skinned man said nothing, but his silence was easy to decipher. Loulie had known him for 9 years, long enough to understand all his mannerisms and magics. She was no longer surprised by his shape-shifting or by the fire that danced in his eyes when he grew emotional. Right now, he was quiet because he knew she would not like what he had to say. "We're offering the man magic," Loulie said. "The least he can do is be on time for a meeting he proposed." "Don't think too hard on it. What will be, will be." "Sage advice, O mighty jinn," she mumbled beneath her breath. Khatir's lips twitched into a brief smile. He enjoyed toying with her. He was the only one who got away with it. Loulie was considering breaking into the ship's interior when she heard approaching footsteps and turned to see a man in a white thobe. "Midnight merchant." He bowed. "I have been sent by Rasul el-Jashin to bring you to the designated meeting place." She and Khatir exchanged a look. His deadpan expression said, "I told you not to worry." "It's about time." She gestured to Khatir. "This man is my bodyguard. He shall accompany me." The messenger nodded before leading them through crowds of colorfully dressed nobles to an obscure back door on the other side of the ship. He rapped on the door in a specific fashion until it was opened by a burly man who guided them down a dimly lit corridor. At the end of the hallway, the man rapped on a different door in a different pattern. There was the sound of a lock and a key. Then the messenger opened the door and beckoned them inside. Loulie looked at Khatir. "After you," his silence said. She smiled before ducking inside. The first thing she noticed upon her entry was that there were mercenaries, 3 of them, each positioned in a different corner of the small room. Unlike the nobles on deck wearing brilliant robes, these men were dressed mostly in weapons. Her mind filled with images of bloodshed and murder, of her mother waving frantically at an empty jar, telling her to hide, of her father lying in a pool of his own blood.